And welcome to another episode of GamerHeads. My name is Roger, aka Rogue Leader 76, and joining me this week are my co-host Blue,
aka Writer's View,
and my co-host Mike,
aka Pezman Mike,
and my co-host Christian,
aka Fulgan.
Welcome to the show. We have a lot to cover with what's going on. I guess there's actually a lot going on, but not a lot going on. It's kind of a weird time, but. So today we'll have a couple of reviews. We'll have Yoshi's Crafted World, review of that, and then we'll also have a review of Hellwarder as well. We'll have your listener feedback, we have our news, and then we have our hot topic this week, and we'll be looking at the first quarter of 2019, and looking back at that and seeing winners and losers, biggest surprises, biggest disappointments. Well, take that all into consideration. So, anyway, before we get into all of that, because it is WrestleMania weekend.
Fuck out! I had to throw another. It started to sound awkward there, so I had to throw my own. I used to be able to do a Paul Bearer impression, but I'm not going to do that tonight.
Wow. Wow.
Used to be able to.
Yeah, used to be able to. Come on.
Well, you know how Paul Bearer sounded.
No.
Well, not yeah. I mean, he very high pitched, spooky voice. I used to be able to do that, but I have since grown, and my vocal cords have since not the spring chicks they used to be.
No, okay. Well, in honor of WrestleMania weekend, I'm going to ask, what is your favorite fighting game of all time?
Whoa.
Mike, do you want to start us off?
Sure, I'll go first. So when I was thinking about this, I was, I love fighting games, and I'm a fan of fighting games, but I'm also a fan of wrestling games. So I'm gonna just kind of tweak this a little bit, if you don't mind, and just say my favorite wrestling game.
Yeah,
there's a lot to choose from. Like seriously,
Yeah.
For going back from pro wrestling on the NES, one of my favorite, the Super Nintendo wrestling games, Raw is War. Royal Rumble was a great game. Tatanka was my favorite. That was my go-to. But I will say my favorite wrestling, of course, is N64's WWF No Mercy.
Of course.
Oh, yeah, that's a good.
The obvious choice.
The obvious choice. That is the obvious choice. Oh, you know what? Oh man, but there was also that WrestleMania the arcade game.
Oh,
that was a good game too.
That was a good game. Anyway, but no, I'm still gonna go with No Mercy. Just the level of character customization, the story modes with branching paths, and it was just, I don't know, it was just such a fun game to play. There was like 80 wrestlers.
Yeah.
At the time, that was like an amazing accomplishment.
Yeah.
I know. So like for like back in those days, it was either like you were either a No Mercy person or a SmackDown person for on the PlayStation. I never got into those games. I was more of a No Mercy person.
Oh, okay.
Plus, I'm using No Mercy for the controller throwdown, which Roger, you're a part of.
Yes, and undefeated, right?
No, Tanuki's undefeated.
What?
Yeah.
That sounds not real
but
at all.
You beat me. So
yes,
there you go.
I had a foster brother growing up who was obsessed with No Mercy. Like, he would play it all day, every day. And, like, I would play it for, like, 30 minutes, and I would just, like, be obsessed with going outside of the ring and seeing all the crap that was outside.
Yep.
I found that fascinating.
that was a good game. I was more into the. Well, I mean, I played it, but I was more into the. I mean, at the time, I was a PlayStation guy, so I was really into like Shut Your Mouth or Know Your Role.
Mm-hmm.
And those were really good games too. That was some really good wrestling times for sure. And the WrestleMania 2000 that was also on the N64. I had a lot of fun with that game.
Yep.
Cool. Blue, do you want to go next?
Well, okay. I will confess to our lovely listeners that I don't follow wrestling, and fighting games are actually a genre I know next to nothing about.
Really?
So, if you're asking me to pick my favorite, I I guess I'll say Final Fight.
Oh, that's a good game.
Yeah. Just because we played it for the RGB,
Yeah.
the high score challenge, and I thought it was pretty fun. I think I did okay. I didn't get any points that week, of course, but yeah.
Did you know that there was who's that guy with like the suspenders? What is that guy?
Hager, Mike Hager.
Do you know that he's in a wrestling game that was also made by that same SNK group?
Final Fight, Capcom.
Capcom.
I know he was in Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yeah, but there's this wrestling game, and he's in it for the Super Nintendo. I will also look it up. I know, it's weird. It's a kind of a cool wrestling game. Huh. Yeah, that's a good game. I like that game a lot. And he's a wrestler, so there you go.
There you go. It counts.
Comes full circle. Blue
counts.
did it.
What about you, Christian?
Actually, I'm in a similar camp as Blue. I've never really followed wrestling very
What's wrong with you
specifically.
guys? No, actually, I'm a closet wrestling fan, so I get it.
No, that's not the same at all.
Good try, Roger.
Yeah.
You almost fit in.
That's just saying I really like wrestling, but I'm embarrassed to say so. So all you people listening who love wrestling, Roger thinks your hobby is embarrassing.
Oh, man.
There's going to be a lot of editing during this episode.
Jeez.
I
Anyway.
thought that's what you guys meant when you guys were saying that you're not wrestling fans. You really are wrestling fans.
Yep.
Sure,
You're
Roger.
just not. You can admit it.
I'll admit it. I'm a wrestling fan, although like not as much as I used to be. Like normally, I'll watch like the first half an hour of Raw to decide if it's interesting enough to keep me going.
Yeah.
Either that, or if it's not interesting, then I'll put on Twitch and watch something else. But they've had reruns of Impact Wrestling on Twitch now too.
Yeah,
so I've been watching some of those.
That's cool.
That's all I got.
Anyway, like I said, I've had a foster brother who was really into it because he brought over his N64 WWF games and played those a lot. And I never really liked blood as a kid. I was kind of squeamish over blood, and so he told me, people who don't like wrestling, they're squeamish when they see blood. And I was like, really? And he's like, yeah, they can't handle it. And I was like, okay, now I need to watch wrestling. So I sat down and I was like trying to watch wrestling as a 6-year-old. I'm like, I can't be afraid of blood. I gotta watch wrestling. And I never really got into it. But anyway, I also never really got into fighting games all that much either. Like Blue, it's like I play a little bit of everything minus fighting games. Smash is a good time. Smash is a good time, especially when you're playing with other people. It's a good party game. But there was one point in time where I had my Vita, and the Vita library was just a desolate wasteland, and I was looking for something that I could play. And so I've always wanted to get good at a fighting game. I've never managed to do it, but at that point in time, I was like, all right, it's time. So I got Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 and Mortal Kombat, the reboot, Mortal Kombat 9. And I was like, it's time. I played a bunch of Ultimate MVC3. I played through the campaign a number of times. I probably put 20, 30 hours into it. I still couldn't really get a good feel for it. I appreciated the personality that it had, but it's very combo heavy. You're meant to chain together moves indefinitely. And I played 2 matches online, and I got all 3 of my characters just got comboed to death. And that was kind of what buried the grave for me in that game. But Mortal Kombat 9, I really like that game because it's kind of a style of fighting that's easier for me, a beginner, a plebeian, to wrap my head around, because it's just nice slow moves, and then certain moves can go into other moves so that they can't retaliate, and my brain can wrap my head around that. And there's also a lot of single player content in that with those challenge towers and the fun arcade mode. There's plenty to do.
Yeah, see, I think, Christian, you hit the nail right on the head, because fighting games, by and large, once you get into the Mortal Kombats and the Tekkens and all that, they are not pick up and play experiences. You have to memorize a gazillion button combinations, and ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
Or at least I ain't got time for that.
Yeah.
It might be different if you could pick it up and you could have some success and be motivated to keep going. But like, there's no gray area when you're playing against people who play fighting games.
Oh yeah.
You know, you memorize all the button combinations and you know how to use them. And of course, they're different for every character, and you have to know what to use and when. And so either you can hang with them or you just get crushed immediately.
I agree. That's why I prefer to play single player against CPU, and that's also why I prefer to watch fighting game tournaments and go to fighting game tournaments as a spectator, because it's such a crazy experience to see all these moves that these people can pull off. Like in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, like for somebody who's really seasoned at it, even Dragon Ball Fighters now, you get hit once and you might as well just put your controller down.
Yeah.
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 I don't. There's a big barrier to entry, skill level wise, and I have never been enamored of the genre enough to actually attempt to cross that barrier.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you play Fight of Gods, where all your button inputs mean nothing at all. Yeah, cool. I was laughing when you're talking, Christian, because you said I put in like 20 or 30 hours into a game, and I just, I couldn't get into it. Most people put in like 2 to 3 hours, and they're like, yeah, I can't get into this game.
Yeah, I was committed. I mean, like I said, the Vita was a desolate wasteland. It wasn't like I was doing anything else with my Vita. So I was like, I want to do this, and I tried so hard, but I couldn't get into it.
Yeah.
We call that the Christian ratio.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It's 10 to 1 for every real gamer to Christian, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
I don't know if that's a compliment or not, but thank you, Mike.
That is a compliment. Everything I say is a compliment.
I saw somebody post this morning, actually, and was asking, like, has anyone actually ever beaten Octopath Traveler? I'm like, I know one person that has. For myself, my favorite fighting game is probably Bushido Blade, which I think was, PlayStation 2 or PlayStation 1? I don't remember. PlayStation 2, I think.
Bushido, that's not... I might be thinking, is that the one where you can kill somebody in one hit?
Yes.
I think that was the first PlayStation.
Was that PlayStation?
Yeah, I believe so, too.
Okay. That game was fantastic because, I mean, yeah, you could kill a person in one hit. So, I mean, you could be really, really good at the game, or you could just get really lucky and get like an awesome strike, and you're like, I mean, I beat some really good players, because there is no memorizing of buttons with that game. It is really just, you are looking for a weakness and then you go for that attack, and yeah, I mean, there's skill to it, no doubt, but I'm just saying, like, you don't have to like memorize combinations to be able to be good at that game. So that game was really fun. I liked that game a lot. I like those games, and then I don't like games like Bloodborne, or apparently, I don't know. I haven't played Sekiro yet, but I don't know. Like, I want to play Sekiro. I still want to play that game so bad.
You really don't, though, Christian. You need to have him over. Remember?
I know. I really do have to go to your.
We need to get that out of your system, Roger.
I know. That I had PlayStation. Sony gave me like $20, and they're like, "Here's $20 for earning trophies and your purchases."
Wow.
Which, yeah, but my trophy count was like terrible. Like, you gotta have like a billion trophies to get like $1. So like, I mean, it included it. But I was gonna take that $20 and buy Sekiro, but then I was like, no, bad idea. So I bought WWE 2K19 instead because it was $20. So I didn't really spend any money. So that was kind of cool.
Good job, Roger.
Thanks. So listeners, what is your favorite wrestling game? You can let us know. You can send us a tweet at GamerHeadsPC. You can send us an email at info@gamerheadspodcast.com. You can go to our website, gamerheadspodcast.com, and leave us a message there. Or you can also go at facebook.com/gamerheadspodcast and leave us a message there as well. All right. So with that, let's go on to the news. I have a couple items here, and then obviously if you all have something as well. Blue, since you brought this one up, do you want to talk about the first one there?
Sure. This news comes to us from the BBC. Prince Harry wants to see a ban on the game Fortnite.
Boo. I mean, okay,
Boo.
sorry, keep going.
Okay. Prince Harry says, quote, "That game shouldn't be allowed. Where is the benefit of having it in your household? It's created to addict, an addiction to keep you in front of a computer for as long as possible. It's so irresponsible. It's like waiting for the damage to be done and kids turning up on your doorsteps and families being broken down."
Jeez.
There's
He
just
added-
random kids like, "Hello, I'm on your doorstep.
Please, sir, may I have some more?
I'm addicted to Fortnite, and that's how what happened to me. I'm on your doorstep now. One moment I was playing the game, the next I'm on your doorstep."
And they're all reduced to lovable Charles Dickens street urchins.
Yep.
Okay,
Newsies.
and Prince Harry added at the end that social media is more addictive than alcohol and drugs.
Yeah. So I suspect that he's not good at Fortnite, and that he wants to
That's
see
right.
a
He's
ban on it.
raging. That's what
Yeah,
this is all.
exactly.
He's raging because he lost. He came in like 75th place.
Yeah.
Some
Can't get past
12-year-old said
75.
something about his mother, and now he's
Yeah.
out to take it all down.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Next is Tetris 99.
Man, the one thing I will say, like on a more serious note, just his comments just goes to show you how much of a family like gamers can be, because like there's a ton of infighting among gamers. Just people are always arguing with each other, whether it's console wars or any other thing else. But once an outsider attacks us, we all band together and put aside our differences.
You're right,
I
Mike.
thought that was so cool to see. Just like now everybody's just pouncing on this guy.
Well, and I mean, the thing is, like what's the benefit of having it in your household? What's the benefit of having any entertainment in your household, for that matter? Then, I mean, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
We watched-
we don't live in a meritocracy, and neither do they in England either.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean,
Things are
we
allowed
watched
to exist without a purpose.
exactly. Like we watched Turtles, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the 2014 movie. That movie was bad, but the kids loved it. There's no value to it, though. Like, really, there's no value to that movie. But I mean, it was just entertainment.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. I think that who is that attorney that tried to sue everybody back in the Grand Theft Auto San Andreas days? Jack Thompson. Do you remember that guy?
No.
Oh, that guy was in the news all over. It's like 2005-ish. That guy was all over the news because he wanted to sue everybody, ban everything, saying that video games were responsible for, all the evils of life. This is kind of like echoes of that.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's weird. I mean, so this is going to sound really weird, but like Prince Harry's younger than I am. It's weird to hear somebody that's younger than me, like,
It does. It sounds like
Right?
something that would be said by somebody in their 50s.
yeah, which I'm close to. I mean, closer
Well,
than
you know what I
than-
mean.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like the
You're
generation
not that
above
close to
us.
being in your 50s.
Well, yeah. Well,
I mean, the thing with him though is different walks of life. He comes from a different social status, so I'm sure his form of video game was like hunting humans on a remote island. So
I was gonna say the Wii because his grandmother loves the Wii.
Oh,
Does she?
Yeah, they had like a golden Wii in
Gold
there.
Wii made
in
for
the-
it.
yeah.
The heck is his problem then?
I don't know.
maybe she wouldn't let him play or something.
Maybe.
yeah.
Come on, Grandma, give me the controller. No.
No, go play your common non-gold Wii.
Yeah. You peasant.
Oh, what the heck?
but it's weird because like what first of all, like what kind of authority does I don't think the royal
Yeah.
family has any authority anymore, right?
Well,
I mean,
not even that. It's just, where is your intellectual authority to be saying that
yeah.
social media is more addictive than alcohol and drugs, and to be saying that Fortnite is going to break your family?
Yeah.
And where are your sources, Harry? I'm sorry, I gotta ask, but I do dream of sometimes I live it by a live and let live philosophy in life. You do what you want to do, and I'll do what I want to do. But every once in a while, I do dream of a dystopian society where people are tested on their knowledge on certain subjects. And if you can prove competency in a subject, you will be granted a license with which you are allowed to give opinions on that subject. And if you do not have a license and you are found giving unlicensed opinions, you will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Some days I dream of that world.
Oh, crap. This podcast is going to end in your world, I think. I'll never be allowed to talk ever.
Nice.
No, I agree with you. I mean, it's weird. It's weird that people have opinions on everything, and like, I get it. I get the fact. Okay, I get the fact that there's probably some concerns that Fortnite is, addictive, but that's not. I mean, that's up to the parents. Like, but it's weird to say that kids are going to end up on your doorsteps. Like, what? Like, just random kids.
It doesn't happen to you?
No, I mean, Is that how kids are made? Actually,
I turn on the lights and they scatter off my front porch, like raccoons or something.
Hey, Tanya, do you want to have another kid? Yeah, let's go play some Fortnite, and maybe one will show up on our doorstep. What? I don't know. It's weird. All right, so who would like to take the next one here?
I'll take it.
Okay.
This comes to us from Nintendo Life. Nintendo's mobile games raked in $85 million during the first quarter of 2019. The Japanese publisher's mobile titles grossed approximately $85 million across the Google Play and Apple App Stores, which is a 6% increase year over year. But this figure still trails behind the fourth quarter of 2018, which was $112.3 million, as well as the first quarter of 2017, which was $106.6 million.
Yeah.
But still, I don't consider that a bad thing. I'll take
No.
I'll be happy to take like 1% of that.
Yeah, and I think that Dragalia Lost, is that how you pronounce it?
Lost, yeah.
Yeah, that game was the one that was struggling the most out of all those games that were listed there. So, what is there, like an alarm going off over there, Christian? What's going on?
It's a storm siren. It's weird.
Really?
I think so.
Are you going to die? Do you need to hide from a tornado?
Yeah, if you need to go somewhere, dude.
They
Like,
heard
I'm not
me
that
expressing my opinion. They're coming for me.
Yeah. I was going to say,
I knew it.
I'm not far from you, so I'm not hearing any sirens. So.
Quick, rescue the children from your front porch. And
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
before they're caught in the storm.
So yeah, I mean, Nintendo's not going to obviously end their mobile games. In fact, like, isn't there talks that they're gonna? Aren't they looking at Octopath, right, as a mobile game now too?
Well, that's Square.
Oh, that's
but
Square. That has nothing to do with Nintendo.
Nintendo's releasing a Mario Kart game,
Oh.
and they're also got a Dr. Mario World.
Oh,
Interesting.
That one I am excited for, I admit.
Yeah, me too.
yeah. So
So they're making some good money. You know what surprises me is that that Animal Crossing is still popular.
yeah, that game is. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised
Wait,
too.
you're surprised it's still popular?
Well, with my own experience with Animal Crossing, I play it like crazy, and then one day I just stop.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, but didn't you say your wife is like 400 hours or something ridiculous?
No, that's my wife.
Oh, that's your wife. Okay,
Yeah,
somebody's
yeah.
wife can vouch for the longevity of Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
yeah, my wife's only experience with Animal Crossing is playing Frogger.
Oh my gosh.
It's an animal, and it's cross. You know what I mean.
We get it.
All right, thanks.
Nice.
That's like a new genre of dad jokes.
Yeah.
It's like dad video game jokes.
Oh man. So yeah, no, it's still a lot of money, even though it's down from the last couple quarters. It's still a lot of money. So
Can you ever imagine having a business to where the dollars that you dealt with were so big that a quarter where you made 85 million was a decrease? I
Yeah.
can't even fathom dealing with that kind of money.
I know,
Yeah.
isn't that crazy? That is crazy. Wow. So yeah, well, I guess we'll have to see how these other games go. And then the last article that I have, Christian, you want to read that next one?
Sure, this one's from Nintendo Life. They Had an article saying Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft are all under investigation over online gaming services. So the Competition and Markets Authority, which is a non-ministerial department of the UK government, which has power to enforce competition and consumer law, they said it is concerned about whether some of these companies' business practices are legal, such as their use of auto-renewals or online gaming contracts, their cancellation and refund policies, and their terms and conditions.
Yeah. So
They're going to have a fun time reading through all those nice long terms and conditions.
Yeah, no kidding. It's like two weird articles that came out of the UK this
the
week.
UK's on a roll this week.
They like called each other up. They're like, this department was like, "Hey, Prince Harry, are you gonna tag Fortnite? Well, we're gonna take on the online services." Like, I don't know. It's weird. Like, I don't. Do you guys feel like it's I don't know, shady practices about the auto renewals?
I'll you know what? I fell victim to an auto renewal.
Mike, no.
I did. I had a free month of PlayStation Plus, and I used it, and I completely forgot to turn off the auto renewal, and then it charged me for another 3 months, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, why did I get charged? Oh yeah, that's what happened. So that was through my own fault. I'm not blaming Sony for it.
Yeah.
But being
like every company in the world does that.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I mean, I am right now. I went to a site called Skillshare, where they have classes, just classes you can log in and watch for whatever it is in the world that you want to learn. And I didn't sign up for it. And then they emailed me and said, we'll give you 2 free months. But to get the 2 free months, you have to give them your payment information.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's on you to cancel. So it like I said, that's like every company in the world. That's certainly not specific to Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft.
Right.
Yeah.
This
And
is
it
sounds like an odd witch hunt.
Yeah.
It even predates that too. It's even like it's saying, "Oh, look, I can get these 6 CDs for a penny."
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Oh man, my parents were so mad at me with Columbia House and Records and how much money we spent on that. But Mom, it was supposed to be a penny for like 13 albums.
If you're really concerned about this business practice, you better widen that net and get a lot more companies there, UK.
Yeah. You know, Best Buy used to have they don't anymore, but they would have a trial magazine subscription. So when I was in charge at Best Buy at the front end, we would always like sell people like, "Oh, you want a free trial 30-day subscription of this magazine?" But then you had to sign up with your credit card information, obviously, and then after 30 days, you would get charged for it.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the way that some people would sell those magazines was shady. And I mean, I didn't allow that to happen, but I know some shady activities that happen in other stores. And then they got rid of it because people complained enough about the fact that they didn't know that they were being charged for these magazines. But
even though you gave your credit card information.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
okay.
Yeah. People don't read. People don't read.
You shouldn't have to read. If I'm giving my credit card information, I understand that there's a chance they're going to use it.
Yep.
I know. And you know, I always said explain that it's a 30-day trial period. So after that, you do have to cancel it. And I always, attached the how to cancel to their receipt. Mm-hmm. But nobody. Ironically, nobody read. But then they would never read them. Then they would order magazines. It's like, wait a minute. That was a dad joke too. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. I agree. Like, it's just a weird witch hunt. Like, what is going on? Like, what's going on? What is going on?
Video games have always been on the receiving end of foundless accusations.
Yeah.
This is just another drop in the bucket for that.
Yeah. True. Does anyone have anything else you want to discuss for news?
No.
No.
We're about a week and a half away from Cuphead on Switch.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's news to me.
That's exciting.
Very exciting.
How much is it going for? I haven't looked.
$20.
Oh, that's not so bad, I guess.
Unfortunately, I have to wait. because I got to get the physical version. And the physical version is not going to come out until they have all the DLC out. So that might not be until probably winter, or I'm assuming maybe probably September or something.
Is there for sure going to be a digital version?
Or they said there's definitely a physical edition of it. Yeah.
Well, that's quite a conundrum.
I know.
Do you own the physical version for the computer? Did they ever come out with a visual? You don't have it on.
Do they have physical versions for computers anymore?
Well,
I have it on my 5x7 floppy.
Nice.
I guess not. I don't really play computer games, so I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I'm sure they have it at like a Venture or some other obscure place that's no longer in business. We can go to Circuit City and get a few copies.
You can go to Walmart and you can get like those like find and match games or whatever, or those find it games. Yeah, those are like you can get physical disc of those.
I still get AOL free trials in the mail, so.
Do you really?
No, I don't think they make those anymore.
That would be awesome if you did.
You got our phone line though.
Yeah. I'm talking to you over a 28.8 modem right now. I got a good connection out here. As long as nobody picks up the phone while I'm talking.
Oh man. All right, well then let's move on to listeners' feedback then. And last week we asked, do digital video games or gaming services really mean the end of gaming? And this is what you all had to say. So I'll take the first one. So the first tweet is from Geek With That, and they tweeted, "It doesn't mean the end of gaming, but it likely means the end of GameStop and used game stores. It is debatable if that is even a bad thing. Look at PC gaming. The prices have plummeted and freebies are always being given out since they're all but stopped selling physical copies."
Well, GameStop could change and adapt, or they could keep their shady business practices. Their choice.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think like, so one people that have been listening to this podcast for like the inception know that we used to have a co-host. His name was Jake, and he runs a retro game store in town, and he actually has said that this is a good thing for stores like his because stores that like Best Buy and GameStops, if they go out of business, I mean, people still want retro stuff, so he's still gonna be in business, so he's not concerned.
Oh,
does it matter then? Because it's not like Best Buy sells retro stuff.
No, not really. I don't think it really matters too much. I mean, for the most part, I think just having less stores though just means less people are gonna go. You know what I mean? Like they'd probably go more to his store just because they're like, oh, like, because he sells they sell more than just video games. Like they sell like plushies and stuff like that. So
fidget spinners.
Fidget spinners, yeah.
Yes.
No, not anymore, Mike. Not anymore.
Oh.
What?
Nothing.
when we were at C2E2 last week, Kurt bought a $10 mystery box at one of the dealers, and in it was a single fidget spinner. He was so angry. We were all angry about that. That was a mystery box though. That's why you buy it.
Yeah, I bought a mystery box from Jake's store, and I probably will never do that again. I mean, it's just weird stuff in there.
Yep.
Anyway, the next one here. Mike, do you want to take the next one?
Sure. This comes to us from @RedandBlueDave, and they tweeted, "One simple question: did Netflix mean the end of movies?" I'll answer that. No, it did not.
Thank you, Mike.
No problem.
This comment was interesting because it led into this long discussion about going out to movie theaters and whether the decline of whose fault was the decline of movie theaters, and whether it was a good shared social experience to go out and watch movies together and cheer at the title screens and applaud at the end together and all that.
Yeah.
It was an enormous bunny trail there.
Yeah. I I guess what do you? I mean, I prefer not going to movie theaters if I don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I would.
Yeah.
If you could pay the price of a movie ticket and have a new release streamed in your home, I would be all over that.
Oh my gosh, that'd be amazing.
In fact, I'd probably watch a lot more new releases.
Yeah.
Totally.
Christian, you want to take the next one?
Sure, just Valcav tweeted, I wouldn't go as far as to say they're the end of gaming, but they are ushering in a new era of gaming, one without physical media and one wherein publishers have every incentive to make us repurchase games on each new iteration of hardware. Nintendo's been doing that for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
they
not
have.
new.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Blue, do you want to take the next one?
Sure, this is from the great Sayaman81, and they tweeted, I don't think it's the end. Potentially it may increase by adding it to more in-home products, like mobile gaming appeal to a larger audience. I'm unsure for myself, not knowing the details. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one comes from TGF Stream, and they tweeted, but I think the collectibles will save physical editions, and game companies will always try to make you buy more shit. So I don't see physical going away anytime soon at all. Like if there was no physical games, movies, music. Oh, I'm not saying the next word. Then why the bleep will I get for Christmas gift cards? So
You'll
yeah,
get a Google Stadia gift card.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, the only thing is that Xbox Games Pass, that I do enjoy that. That is a pretty novel concept. But then at the same time, I just like I said earlier with Cuphead, I need my physical copies. I don't know why. Like I'm totally fine with everything else. I'm totally fine with getting music digitally. I'm totally fine with getting movies digitally. In fact, just yesterday on my Voodoo account, I got what did I get? The South Park movie and The Running Man.
Ooh.
And so I don't know. But for games, I feel like I still can't let go of that physical copy, both figuratively and literally.
Well, and the thing is, like, even with these, like the digital services, like the Game Pass, it's just like Netflix, right? So Netflix will remove movies and put new movies in. I mean, Xbox is doing the same thing. They're going to remove games, and it's different because I feel like if I watch a movie, I'm like, okay, I'm done with it. I don't need to see it again. But
you could be done with a movie in 2 hours, but if it's a game that needs 80 hours, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, exactly. So it'll be interesting because I mean, obviously, I have removed some games, but it hasn't been anything that's like, oh man, I wish they would have kept that one because I really wanted to play that game.
Yeah.
But I still find myself buying games.
Yeah. The thing I think that people need to keep in mind is that the companies will listen to us if enough of us get together and say the same thing. I mean, look at EA and their microtransactions.
Yeah, exactly.
They did listen. So it is, people think that the digital future, it looks one way, and it doesn't have to.
Yeah. Agreed. Mike, do you want to take the last one there?
Sure thing. This comes to us from @PKBlaze Twitch, and they tweeted, I don't see how it would be the end of gaming when it gives more people a means of putting games out there and gives gamers more freedom to find the experiences they want. Yeah, to that point earlier about the Games Pass. And I'm actually, I don't know, there's okay, so you're probably going to laugh at me, but I'm actually interested in the new Intellivision console that's coming out next year.
Oh boy.
Why would we laugh at you for that?
I'm going to laugh at him for that.
Yeah,
no, I'm just kidding. I'm not.
It's such a different concept. It's all digital, and it seems to be a lot of just remakes of old Intellivision games. But a lot of it just seems like an odd system. But I just was talking about the physical stuff, and this is an all digital system, and here I am kind of flip flopping.
But you get to keep the system.
Yeah.
I do
right?
get to keep the system. Yeah.
So I mean, that's still physical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
I'm helping you out here, Mike.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thanks for backing me up.
All right. Well, listeners, you can always send us feedback, and you can send us a tweet. Christian, how can people get a hold of us?
At GamerHeads PC on Twitter.
Or they can send us an email at
info@gamerheadspodcast.com.
Or what's our Facebook page?
Facebook.com/GamerHeadsPodcast.
And then we also have a website as well.
GamerHeadsPodcast.com.
All right, let's go into our push select game review section. So this week we actually have 2 games that we'll be reviewing. The first one, Christian, you've been playing and you beat, and I've watched you play the game on lunch breaks. And it's Yoshi's Crafted World.
Yeah. Mike got it too, right, Mike? You got Yoshi.
I do have Yoshi.
I'm so jealous of you guys.
Me too. That looks fun.
Yeah, it's great. I was very hesitant. A $60 Yoshi game? Not sure if that was, vibing with me. The only other Yoshi game I've played through beginning to end was Yoshi's Story on the N64, and it was okay. That game's like really short, and it's really weird because it's meant for like getting high scores. It's meant to be played over and over. Weird. This Yoshi's Crafted World, it's wonderful. It's great. It's like an easy version of Donkey Kong Country, which is nice. It's just this 2.5D platformer. You swallow stuff, you throw eggs at things, and then you get to the end while collecting a bunch of smiley flowers. It's great, pretty simple, pretty cut and dry. But there's a lot of cool stuff going on. They do some creative stuff with level themes, boss battles. That stuff's good. So yeah, pretty enjoyable time.
So you didn't play the last one then? The last one that was on
I played a little bit of Yoshi's Woolly World.
Okay.
And that game looks amazing. Like the look to Woolly World is incredible.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I'm kind of disappointed about in Yoshi's Crafted World, because it's more of just like a traditional Yoshi looking thing. It's kind of hard to pin down what exactly they were going for. There's a lot of cardboard everywhere, so it's like Yoshi Labo or something. There's a lot of like colorful construction paper, and there's some cool stuff like they'll have tin cans lying around that they'll play around with. But overall, it doesn't have like that nice, tight, focused look like Yoshi's Woolly World did. This one's kind of more ill-defined, and they don't really go as far with it.
So did you guys, when you were kids and you had your little figurines or whatever, you did not take construction paper and cardboard and stuff and make play sets for them?
Oh yeah, I did.
Because when I saw Yoshi's Crafted World, I was like, that's what we did.
Yeah.
We made
wow.
little obstacle courses and playgrounds and things for our little figurines.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That were not nearly so good, but it's the same idea.
Yeah, mine usually fell apart like after a couple uses. But
I guess I didn't have a childhood.
Well, you
I'm
were
sorry,
just busy playing video games.
Yeah,
I guess.
We're so old. We had to find things to do before we had video games.
Yeah.
That's
We
right,
had this
that's
thing
right.
called imagination.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Yeah, there was Castle Grayskull, but that was like the extent of any kind of play sets. Normally,
okay. So if your parents had money, you could
Yeah,
buy
yeah,
the real,
Exactly.
Mattel
Yeah.
play sets and all that. But otherwise, it's like, here's your construction paper.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, like kids now, I made them all the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all the Perlers, and Shredder, and that's their toys.
Nice.
They're awesome, though.
Yeah,
They look awesome, yeah.
well, thanks. Yeah, so I used to do that too. I used to like, create scenes out of like construction paper and cardboard. You'd always like, hey, mom, dad, can I have that cardboard box? Don't throw it away.
Yeah,
And-
exactly. My dad would bring home papers from his workplace. And
Yeah.
so on the one side, they would have like all of the boring business stuff, and then we would flip it over and use the other side.
Nice.
Sensitive work information.
It's fine. It's fine. It's recycling.
This is what Yoshi's Crafted World. It has all of Nintendo's like profit sharing and whatever all on one side.
Yeah. It's awesome. It's like here's a drawing of a happy sun and a flower, but when you flip it over on the other side of the level, it's like bank account information.
Yeah, it has a non-disclosure agreement, a subpoena.
Yeah.
Yoshi's insurance fraud world.
Oh, jeez.
Somebody
But-
make that.
So, Christian, you said that after you beat the game, and then you said the second half, like when you go back and try to get everything, that's what got really hard, right?
Yeah. So as you go through, every level is pretty simple. I mean, you've got a beginning, and then you try and get to the goal at the end. But you're trying to get these smiley flowers, and they gate your progress by requiring so many before moving on to the next world. But you don't need much at all. You're going to get plenty before you actually start having to struggle and try and look for any. But yeah, they're pretty well hidden. Some of them are not easy to find at all. And there's a couple of bonus ones too. There's one that you get a smiley flower at the end of a stage if you have full health, and you get a smiley flower at the end if you find all the red coins in the level. And the red coins are all hidden. Like, they all start out pretty much as golden coins, or they're not visible until you go over a certain part of the map. So the level design here is awesome because you can like clearly see like, there's this open space over here. I'm sure they wouldn't just put that in for no reason. And those are all over the place. Sure enough, you go there, there's like no wasted space as far as the levels are concerned, and they're excellent because of it.
Nice. And so your review is up on
NewGameNetwork.com.
And what was your final score?
I gave it a nice, ill-defined 77. I had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed it way more than I initially anticipated, and I'm looking forward to just like putting 20 more hours into it, getting everything I can. Really fun. It's got a lot of longevity, and yeah, it'll keep me occupied with my Switch for a while to come.
Nice.
So, bottom line, $60. Yes or no?
Yeah.
For me, yes. And a lot of that was because of how meaty the game is. There's a lot to do. Game isn't short. Like, I think just to get to the end, it probably took me like 12 hours, but I was getting a lot of side stuff. But I can see myself dumping like 20 more hours into it trying to get everything.
Nice. That's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, thank you, Christian. And Mike, you
Yes.
reviewed Hellwater.
I did review Hell Warders. Oh wait, you want to hear more? Okay.
Oh yeah, I do, yeah.
So Hell Warders, so I played it on the PlayStation 4. It's a tower defense action RPG. If I could, yeah, that's probably the best way to describe it.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so you're playing as you can choose one of 3 different warriors, and each stage is about this an arena, not a huge level, just basic like about the size, like I said, like an arena, almost the size of like a Soul Calibur stage or something like that. It's maybe a little bit bigger, but what you're doing is so the demons of hell are invading and trying to take over and kill all of humanity. So you're their last hope. So there's this crystal, this nexus that you have to protect, and you need to get ready and place different types of troops among the arena before the timer runs out and before the waves start coming in, the demons start coming in. And it's all about resource management, finding the right placing of troops, trying to figure out what kind to use in what situations, and of course protecting that crystal from being destroyed. One of the things I liked about this is that it's not just about that. Like, it's not just about placing the troops in. You're actually in on the action. So once you're done placing everybody and that wave starts coming, you could jump in and help out wherever you want. So you could go in and attack on one spot, and then if you're looking at your mini map and you see a bunch of little red dots swarming your other troops, then you could run over to that side and start attacking them to help out. So it's not just the resource management, the troop management, but it's also an action game as well, where you're doing everything you can to assist. Now, the action part, it's not as deep. There's no like combos or anything. You're just basically going in and just slashing or shooting or using your gigantic hammer thing. But it gets pretty frantic after a while, and then in the first couple stages, it was like, okay, so I've got enough time in between waves. I'm able to slowly pick out what I want to do, and by the time I got to like the third stage and like the third wave, I was like, I had a ton of this I guess their form of currency. I had that saved up, and I was running out of time. I'm like, then I started like freaking out. I'm like, oh gosh, where do I put these people and all that stuff. You can also level up your troops. Use that money to level up your troops to make them stronger and make it easier to fight against the incoming hordes. But and also, it also has online play, so online co-op. So yeah, so you can get out.
wow.
You can meet up with 3 other people and try to fight these demons together. So I do not have much experience with tower defense games, and that's through fault of my own. It's not that I wasn't interested in them; I just never got around to playing one. But I really enjoyed this game because what I really liked about it is that it could be a 20-minute game. It's a game you could just fire up, play for 20 minutes, do a couple waves, and then and then do something else. Or you can get lost in it for a few hours, and you can still have fun either way. It's a great price too. It's only $15, and
Nice.
that's perfect for this kind of game. This pick up and play game. I had trouble at first, but that's I put that on user error because I wasn't familiar with tower defense games and how to play. Roger, I think I texted you. I was like, I don't know how to play this game.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do, and you're like, I don't care, just do it.
Yeah. Figure it out, Mike.
Yeah, figure it out. So no, it's a good game. It's a fun game. It's not anything amazing. It's not like the greatest thing you've ever seen, but for the price, it's definitely a fun game. So I gave it an A-.
Nice. And your review is on GamerHeadsPodcast.com.
It sure is.
So one thing I will say, because I played the game too. So one thing that I will say, and I don't know if you noticed this, but I felt like the first character. So there's 3 different characters you can choose from. You can pick from like a warrior, a mage type character, and like a ranged type character, like a.
Yeah. There's a gunslinger,
Yeah.
the warrior, and there's like almost looks like a troll with a giant hammer. Not a troll, like a dwarf.
Yeah. So the first character I picked was the warrior one, and he just felt like his movement. He felt really floaty, I guess.
You did. I agree.
Okay. I was wondering if that was just me or if that was, because it just felt like his actions didn't seem to like really, the animations, he just kind of floated, and like instead of like actually feel like he was like touching the ground, he kind of like it was weird. It was a weird, but then I played the gunslinger, I didn't have that same feeling with him.
That's funny because I had the exact same experience.
Huh.
I played with the warrior and I'm like, oh, this game feels just loose. It just doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
And then I picked the gunslinger. I'm like, oh, and I blasted through like 3 waves in a row with the gunslinger. I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna stick with this guy.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. I stuck with the gunslinger and I was like, oh, this actually feels good. So it's weird.
How did you feel the difficulty was handled, Mike? Is there like a variable difficulty? Because when I play tower defense games, I usually get too frustrated before I get very far.
Mm-hmm. No, the difficulty does ramp up like right around the middle of the second stage, or the second world, I guess you could say. And it doesn't get terrible. The good thing is, though, as you beat each stage, you can unlock a new type of troop, and then you can go back to a prior stage and use those troops that you unlocked in other ones in order to get a perfect on the arena, because if you get a perfect, you also unlock a special ability.
Oh, interesting.
So it's got some good replay factor in it as well. But I never found it frustrating. I mean, yes, I did find it frustrating, but not to the point where it was like unfair.
Yeah.
It was like, all right, I didn't place these people here, or oh, I didn't look at the minimap before the round and see which direction they were coming from. So I need to be smarter about where I'm placing my troops.
I see.
So
you mentioned you can unlock troops, and you mentioned there's RPG stuff going on. Is there progression so you can make things easier on yourself?
Yeah, so you can level up your character.
Is that inside a match, or is that across matches?
That's across matches. But
Gotcha.
But you can level up your troops in between each wave.
Yeah.
Actually, and during the wave. You
And
can
during
also
the wave,
place
yeah.
troops during the waves, but that takes up time. Like it takes a couple seconds for them to spawn. So it's about that time management as well. But no, you can level up the troops. You can level up yourself. Get different abilities, things like that.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we should play it online sometime, Mike, to see how that.
We
how that
should.
plays. Yeah, we meant to. We just didn't to. We didn't get to. So cool. All right. Well, with that, then let's go on to games that we're currently playing. So, Blue, why don't you start us off? What games are you currently playing?
So, I of course have 1,000 things that I'm supposed to be reviewing, but everybody has been talking about Sekiro for the last week or so.
And you got it.
No.
Oh.
No. But what I decided was that I really wanted to try a FromSoft game.
Oh.
And I've had Bloodborne sitting on my PlayStation for a couple months now. So I fired up Bloodborne for the first time.
Yeah?
And it is... I really like it, but it's also really frustrating at the same time.
Yeah.
So definitely because Roger was telling the story of his experience playing it.
Yeah.
Do you want to do a quick refresher of it for everybody who doesn't know?
My experience? Yeah, so my experience was I run around and I don't have a weapon and I ran into this boss and I just ran past them. And I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I just have my fist and I don't know. Like, I guess I survived a long time with just using my fist. I've never found a weapon. I don't even know what I'm doing in that game. So that's my experience.
So with that in my mind, when I started playing, everybody knows who's already played through the game that you wake up in the clinic and you go downstairs and there's that werewolfy thing there.
Yeah, I run past him.
You're meant to die to him.
What? No, that doesn't make sense. I ran past him.
You're meant to die to him, and then you go in spirit or something, I guess, to this place called the Hunter's Dream.
Okay.
And there, these little entities gift you with weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go back to the clinic, and you beat the werewolf thing with your weapon.
Oh. Well, I was fighting with my fist, so...
Yeah, so I had Roger's story in the back of my mind, so I come downstairs from the clinic, and I see this thing, and I was like, oh, crap. I'm making the same mistake Roger did. Where's the weapon? And so I poured over every single inch of that clinic looking for the weapon.
Oh,
and
no.
couldn't find it. And I was like, well, crap. Let's just go see how tough this thing is. And so eventually I did just go face it and die. And I was like, oh, okay. I get it.
So does that mean that I'm a really good player because I didn't die with that thing and I made it past that thing?
But you never got to the Blue Lantern?
No, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, so in theory, if you were able to defeat the werewolf with your fists, and then you go outside, and there's, I think, 3 guys that you have to also defeat with your fists.
I ran, yeah.
Okay, well, eventually you should come up to a gate that tells you you've gotten to Central Yharnam, and right in front of that is a lantern, and you light it, and it can take you to the Hunter's Dream.
Oh, no, I haven't done that. I just was, like, running around and, like, jumping on, like, I don't know, like, there's these, like, fire escapes or something, and I was climbing around, like, I don't know, there's, like, I was running around the buildings, and then things were just, like, killing me. It was bad. I don't know what I was doing.
Well, if things were killing you, you should have gone to the Hunter's Dream.
I don't think so. Because I just quit. Like, I rage quit and then started over, so I didn't know what I was doing.
One way or another, you will get to Hunter's Dream.
So I just had to play through my death then, I guess.
Yes.
Because I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I made it past that werewolf thing. Like, I'm just running and slapping it with my hands. And then it's just... these guys were chasing after me. It was weird. I was just like, I don't like this game. This game sucks. So I have to play it again.
Yes, you do.
Which weapon did you pick, Blue?
I picked the, what's it called? The blade saw or whatever, the top one.
Yeah, the cool looking one?
Yeah. I like it because you can put it in its extended trick state and it's still a one-hand weapon.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, as opposed to the axe.
Yeah, which goes two-hand.
Yeah, which goes two-hand. So I just leave it in its extended state. I don't see any reason to put it back and make it shorter.
Yeah. That game's setting is really cool. The weird, macabre, Lovecraftian, gross-looking stuff.
It's so awesome. It's definitely walking through an H.P. Lovecraft story.
Yeah.
Only more grounded, you know.
Yeah.
Reading H.P. Lovecraft, sometimes you're like, okay, this is a little out there, but no, this one, the game feels very real, and it's the art all the settings of the city, and everything is so dirty and disgusting and gloomy, and there's so much to look at. Like, you know, when you get dropped into a game for the first time, you're not really sure what's important and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
So I've like exploring like every section looking for, because I don't want to miss something important, but I don't know what I'm looking for, you know, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then it's difficult with this game because there's so much to look at.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I don't know what's important. It's a little bit overwhelming, but it's very cool.
Yeah, that's typical from FromSoft level design, where you don't know what you're doing, and it's like the levels aren't designed like typical video game levels, where usually it's clear where you're supposed to end up going. Mm-hmm. Where in From Software games, you'll just go down a hallway because you're exploring, and then you'll end up in a like late game area, and then you'll die.
Yeah, and then apparently you're supposed to die.
Mm-hmm.
Only
like
the once, Roger.
Yeah, that's like absolutely everything that taught me in my life not to do is to die.
You have to think outside the box.
I guess. I was dodging that guy. I was dodging the werewolf thing.
And slapping.
And slapping him.
See, your mistake was in rage quitting.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. Because, like, I didn't know. I would hit pause. I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to start this over because apparently I'm not supposed to die. I didn't know.
Yeah, if you go up the long ladder, which is probably what I think you were saying when you rage quit.
Yes.
Up there's a gate. On the other side of the gate is the lantern.
Okay.
You were so close.
I was so close then. I was so close. You guys, that must mean I'm a really good gamer if I'm able to make it that far. Without any weapons.
Okay.
That's the takeaway that I'm getting with this.
There you go.
But playing this game makes me feel like, you know that Tom Cruise movie, is it Edge of Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where he just lives the same day over and over until he knows it backwards and forwards.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I feel like this game is, because, you know, at least in where I am right now, I've gotten as far as like the rats in Central Yarnum. And that's kind of where I'm stuck right now. But you have to play it over like 100 times. And each time you learn, okay, well, there's the guy behind this wall. There's the guy behind down here at the bottom of the steps. And then you let that guy pass. And then you throw the pebble at the end one. And then you retrace and you go back up there. And so it's like just memorizing the placement of everybody and what actions will get you killed and what actions will, you know, let you keep going.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's probably a good thing I just rage quit and quit that game altogether. That's what I'm hearing.
I don't know.
It's like an old school video game, Roger. You got to bang your head against it and learn. You got to keep trying over and over until you know where every enemy is, what they're going to do, and how you can overcome them.
That's why I don't play those games anymore.
There are no wasted deaths. Everything is a lesson. It's like a really bloody Cuphead. How's that?
Yeah. So you're liking it, Blue? Do you like this game?
I am liking it. It's a love-hate right now.
Yeah.
Are you gonna pick up Sekiro now?
Well, I don't know. Maybe.
Well,
I mean, I'm not gonna jump head first in the Soulsborne genre necessarily because I can't even get to the first boss yet in Bloodborne, but
yeah.
I might throw it on the end of the backlog at some point.
Nice. Are you playing anything else?
No, I was too busy dying.
Yeah. What about you, Christian? What have you been playing besides Yoshi's Crafted World?
Well, Yoshi was most of my time, unfortunately, but I've been playing around with Baba Is You.
Oh, Baba Is You!
Because I've heard great things about it when it first came out. Have either of you guys heard of it? I know Roger has.
Yeah,
I've heard of it. Yeah, I heard it's such a very interesting take on the puzzle genre.
Yeah.
No, I haven't heard of it, but if it's a puzzle game, I'm interested.
Yeah, Blue, I think you'd like this game a lot, actually.
Yeah, it's an indie puzzle game, and it's got an interesting gimmick, because you got a puzzle game, you got to have a good gimmick, and Baba Is You has a pretty darn good one that I haven't seen before, and it's hard to wrap your head around. It's very hard to explain in words. I would highly recommend going out and seeing a video, because like the first level of Baba Is You just like explains it so succinctly with the visuals on screen, you understand. But you control this little white Baba, and it's like a grid-based thing. So you shuffle along the grid. That's typical. We've had puzzle games like that before. You push blocks out of your way so that you can get to the winning point, which is usually a flag. That's all usual. But the interesting thing is that you're able to manipulate the game's rules. So some of these blocks will be rules of the game. So there'll be blocks that say Baba is you. You'll have the verb, you'll have you, and you'll have Baba. And if you move any of those out of the way, it'll be game over because you don't control anything anymore, and so you can't win, and so it's over. So what you do is like you manipulate what's win. So usually the flag is win, and you can like push things around so that the wall is win, and then you go into the wall and you win. Very interesting. I really like how some of those levels open themselves up to like limitless possibilities for winning, because you can push these blocks and move around these rules in ways that I'm sure not even the developers thought of. But there's also levels where it seems like there's a very specific solution, and those ones feel less fun because I just sit there staring at it for 2 hours, banging my head against it. Maybe I haven't figured it out quite yet. Like there's this weird logic to it where you kind of have to figure out how you can move these rule blocks together. And basically, most of it is moving the rule blocks into a spot where basically winning is trivial, and then you just win. But it puts you in this weird headspace that I haven't really experienced in a game before. And so it makes it a great puzzle game. A lot of fun.
Yeah. It looks cool. I mean, I haven't played it yet, but yeah, Christian, you and I talked at length about that game. It looks really cool.
So
are you playing that on PC or are you playing on
Yep,
Switch?
I'm playing it on PC,
Okay.
but it is on Switch.
Yep.
Be a great Switch game.
Yeah.
So it's Kickle Cubicle, where you bend reality.
Kickle Cubicle?
You've never played Kickle Cubicle?
No, I haven't.
I haven't heard of this game.
I've
What,
heard of it.
really?
Yeah.
Mike, help me.
Kickle, was it Kickle Cubicle?
Kickle Cubicle.
Kickle Cubicle.
No.
No.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, is that
I'm
NES game?
disappointed in all three of you.
But no. I've heard the name. I thought it was an NES. Yeah, it was an NES game.
Yes, it was an
puzzle.
NES game,
Yeah.
and it was a puzzle game, and you had to move ice blocks out of your
Ah.
way.
Oh, yeah, I know
Yes,
that game. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. I played that game before.
You nailed it, Blue.
I was going to say, it's not a GamerHeads podcast if we don't disappoint you, Blue. So
That simile took a lot of work.
Yeah. But yeah, that's it for me. Just Baba is you.
Nice. What about you, Mike?
Well, strap yourselves in because this is going to be a long segment.
Oh boy. Hold on, let me get a beverage.
Yeah,
Just kidding. Go ahead.
I went on vacation last week. I went out to the Grand Canyon, but we decided to make it a train vacation. So we spent a day and a half on an Amtrak train on the way there and a day and a half on the way back. And there was nothing else to do, so of course I brought my Switch. So played a lot of games on that. But before I get into that,
Nothing else to do. There's like all the scenery.
That's what I want to do on my vacation.
Well, the scenery also was awesome on the way there, but on the way back I was like, I saw that on the way there. Yeah. No, I saw some awesome like mountains and stuff on how America's landscape changes from Chicago all the way out to Arizona. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But before I get into that, I can very, very proudly say that I finally beat Red Dead Redemption 2.
You did it, Mike.
You did?
I did it.
On the train?
So accomplished. No, not on the train.
Oh.
That would be impressive.
Thank you. Yeah, I was every time it was kind of reminded me of Lord of the Rings: Return of the King. Every single time I thought that, I'm like, okay, this is
Oh,
the
yeah.
ending.
Yeah, lots of fake outs.
No, that's not the ending. This must be that's not this either. So that game was incredible. I know earlier on, like when it came out, I was talking about how frustrated I was with it, and by no means do I think it's a perfect game. I think some of the review scores are a little inflated, but the story and the acting and all that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
It was an incredible experience. So
Does that mean you went through the epilogue too, Mike?
oh yeah, I did that.
Yeah?
I'm not going to get into any details because there's obviously spoilers, but there's one mission, and I think I could drop hints and that might give you. There's one mission that I really enjoyed, like one of my favorite missions in the entire game, and there was no fighting or going to another place. It was just like it was it was a montage. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm talking about. So that was incredible.
Yeah, there's some interesting stuff in that epilogue. As soon as the epilogue starts, it's like nice. Like it's kind of expected, but they did something. They did something that's pretty interesting. I'd recommend getting there, Roger. There's some interesting stuff going on in that epilogue.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
And then
I do have to beat that game, yeah.
Yeah, and then after you beat it, what gets unlocked is really is amazing to me in terms of future DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I played that, and then so now that I beat Red Dead, I jumped into Spider-Man. So I just started playing that yesterday.
Good game.
Yeah,
An actual video game.
Actually, yep. That's right. Yeah, and I'm enjoying that. I only put about a couple hours into it, and I streamed it, but that was a lot of fun. So I played that. And then on the Switch, another thing I'm very proud of myself for, I got through Chapter 1 on Everybody in Octopath Traveler.
Nice, Mike. You got a favorite?
You know what? It's getting tougher, but I'm really okay. So I'm with Roger's advice. I'm really enjoying Cyrus's. All of his magic.
Yeah,
and I'm also enjoying Hannett's Pokemon aspect.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Capture your enemies and use them in a future battle.
Yeah, that's cool.
I like that. One thing that kind of disappointed me about it is that a lot of the characters, their special abilities are the exact same.
Oh, yeah.
Like Primrose's and Ophelia's special ability is exactly the same, but they're just called different things.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Same with Hannett and what's that guy's name? I forget the warrior.
Yeah.
His name. But
Warrior Man. I know what you're saying, Mike.
Yeah, but I think they kind of have to do that so that way when you have your, team of 4, right?
Yeah. No, I agree. But I thought it was going to be different. I was a little disappointed to see that, but it's not game breaking or anything.
Yeah.
But I didn't like Hannett's story because they were using Old English too much. Everything.
Yeah.
It was so annoying. Everything ended in ith and eth and thoth.
Yeah. Is Hannett? Is she the merchant one? She's the merchant one, right?
No, Tress is the merchant.
She's the hunter.
Hunter. I gotcha. Tress. Her story I really liked. It doesn't. I liked it a lot because it doesn't bog itself down in trying to fulfill on or deliver on a hefty story arc the way that Primrose's did. It's just happy-go-lucky. We've got a merchant. She's just doing her merchant thing. You see a bunch of fun stuff along the way. So hers was probably my favorite.
Yeah, so now what I'm doing now is I'm in that area between chapters where I have to grind and level everybody up.
Yeah,
we're in the same place now.
So
you got this, Mike.
Thank you. So I played that, and I also downloaded and I played Metagal on the Switch.
I haven't heard of this.
It's and I keep butchering this name, Rataleka Games. They make budget-friendly pixel 2D games, or they publish them, and this one is basically it's a Mega Man clone with all female characters.
Oh, interesting.
Essentially, that's it that's basically what it is. It's an enjoyable game. They've got the physics and the timing down pat,
nice.
So you don't have to worry about it's not floaty or it's not unresponsive or anything like that. So it's definitely a tight game. It's only $3.99. At least I got it for $3.99 because of that opening week discount that a lot of Switch games have. But it's definitely worth $5. It's a fun game, especially if you like Mega Man games.
Which flavor of Mega Man are we talking about, Mike? Are we talking 1 through 6 or X?
It kind of feels like X.
Oh, okay,
wow.
Interesting.
But actually, kind of maybe in between both, because there's no wall climbing or any of that stuff. But it's I would say kind of in between regular and X.
I see.
A little bit faster paced.
Okay.
But they have a lot of the same things that you would find: the disappearing platforms, the bosses that have weaknesses. You're left to your own devices to figure out how to beat some of these bosses, or not some of these bosses, even some of the enemies. They have mid-level bosses, so it's a lot of good stuff. And for the price, I mean, you could do a lot worse than that. So
Yeah.
I also played and I beat Celeste.
You did it, Mike! Yes!
Nice.
Wow.
Not 100%. I think I only got about
never
30
mind.
strawberries.
Yeah. Not as excited.
And there ain't no way I'm going back to try to get more.
Have you toyed around with?
Yeah.
Did you toy around with the accessibility options at all, Mike?
No.
No.
I played it
You
straight.
should.
They're fantastic. Really good.
Really?
Yeah, they let you do things like have unlimited double jumps and stuff like that
Yeah.
if you just want to screw around.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or if you want to play the game that way.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a discussion for another time, but personally, I would feel so defeated if it came to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What? That's how you play the game?
That if I just couldn't do it and I had to give myself those kinds of things.
Oh. Well.
But like I said, that's just
That's how I played the game.
I'm just going to be quiet.
okay. I'll shut up then.
Did you play it on Switch, Mike?
It doesn't matter how you play games.
I know it does. That's why I said personally. Personally.
That defines a real gamer.
Yeah.
So,
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
I'll also admit I'm not a real gamer. So anyway, keep going.
But yes, I did. I played it on the Switch, and I actually swapped a lot between the analog and the D button pad.
Yes.
Depending on what predicament I was in.
Mm-hmm. That's my main issue with Celeste, or like the only issue I had with Celeste is that it's difficult and there's omnidirectional movement, so you can move in any of 8 directions. And if you don't move in the right direction in certain sequences, you die. You have to move in the right one. And if your control stick registers a diagonal input as an up or a right, you're dead. Sorry.
Yep. I had that issue plenty of times.
Yeah. Did you find the directional buttons or the analog stick better as far as accuracy was concerned?
Well, the buttons I found to be more accurate, but I had to think more.
I see, yeah.
Like with analog, I could go just based on reaction.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to make sure that I was like, because I have to turn my thumb like almost on a diagonal myself to do upright. On the buttons. So I don't know. I should have brought, because I have the Hori D-pad controller, and I didn't bring it with me though, so I probably should have tested it out with that.
You know, but that's what I mean, so this is what I really like about Celeste, and we kind of talked about this last week or the week before about, you know, accessibility of games, right? And that's what I liked about it, because there's a really good story in Celeste, and I feel like, you know, and obviously it's really, really challenging too. But if you didn't have, you know, because I mean, I'll admit, I'm not good at these. I'm good at RPGs. I'm not good at platforming games because I'm not. But because of the fact that they do have more accessibility and allows for, you know, the things, you know, like the double jumps and other things, that it allows me to enjoy the game too. Or, you know, people are not as skilled as like Christian or Mike are in the game. But I mean, that's what I love about Celeste.
Oh, I wouldn't go that far. I'd say I'm skilled. Christian maybe, but I don't know if I got lucky. I got lucky a lot.
Yeah.
Well,
But-
I didn't mean it like there's a right or wrong. I just thought it was an interesting discussion of how do you personally approach the game.
Yeah.
Totally.
No. I know. I didn't. No, I didn't mean to have like a side conversation after what your comment was. No, I'm just saying that's what I love about Celeste, because I do think, like, and maybe this is a hot topic in the future, but I do think that that's a game where people, like, you know, can beat it at a really hard level, but I think also allows people to access the game too, that want to enjoy the story behind the game. So I love Celeste.
It was funny, a little side story. I was when my brother-in-law came to visit one time, and he played Cuphead, and so we were talking Cuphead, and it was a subject he liked. And then, like, at the end of the couple days that they came to visit, he was like, "Hey, you're playing Cuphead in easy, right, aren't you?" And I was like, "What?"
Oh,
No.
That's great.
And he's like, "Oh," and kind of walked away.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah. Well, I mean, I usually try to keep it at the default level when I first start playing, or the default settings, I should say, and then if I find it's too challenging and I just want to be able to, enjoy the story, depending on what kind of game it is. If it's a like story-based game, then I want to know more about it, and then I'll put on easy. But if it's something like it's supposed to be challenging, then I'll just say I'll rage quit and not play it again, like Bloodborne.
That's funny because that's what I did with Spider-Man. Is I played it on the second easiest setting because I just wanted to enjoy the story.
Yeah,
as opposed to be focused on the gameplay.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I do think though, like, because I agree with you on that one. I do feel like after a while though, you get really accustomed to the combat in Spider-Man. That having on easy does make it really, really easy. I mean, it's cool because Spider-Man really kicks a lot of butt, and it's like, whoa, Spider-Man's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's not very challenging anymore.
Yeah.
But
so
cool. Anything else, Mike?
Yes, and then on the last probably 3 hours of the train ride, I decided to start playing Hollow Knight.
Oh
yeah. And that that game is, I love the animation in it. I am such a sucker for smooth, like 2D animation. That's why I love Cuphead so much. But I'm really enjoying Hollow Knight. I'm not very far. I just completed what's that? Greenleaf? Is that the name of the area? And I just met and I think, is her name Willow? Is that I forgot her name. Hornet. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just met her and fought her, and I just unlocked the dashing ability. So.
Ooh, yeah, that's good. Yeah. That feels good.
Yes, it does. So I'm going through that. I'm having a lot of fun with that. I love the color palette. It's just I love the music, the ambiance. I love the little the pseudo voices in the game.
Yes, isn't the language so
cute.
Cool?
Yeah, that's so, like, the one thing I loved was and I just sat and just listened, was the one beetle guy that's mining.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
and that song that he's humming.
Yeah.
It's great.
And I'm like, but this sounds, and then I started to catch on to it. I'm like, this almost sounds like it has a little bit of Luigi's Mansion in it.
Oh, really?
Go back and listen to it. It kind of sounds a little bit like that, but so I'm enjoying that. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Yes. So I think that's one of the subtle reasons that Hollow Knight is so good, because I feel like as I'm going back and playing more games from the Wii and the Wii U era, and I feel like there was this rash of games where they didn't use voices, but they wanted some sound, so they just do that blabber noise.
Yeah.
And it makes me insane. I hate it with a passion. I hate it so much.
Like Animal Crossing?
I've never played Animal Crossing.
Oh, yeah.
But like Okami.
Yes.
Yes, that stupid little bug won't shut up.
Yeah.
And he just makes that and it goes on forever. And I hate it. It's like I would rather just have it silent and read his dialogue, or have a voice, one or the other. But it's like it's nothing. It's just noise. And so with Hollow Knight, they could have done that, but they didn't. If you listen to the dialogue, I think it's a real language that they took the time to create. It's not just random noises. Yeah. It has structure, and it repeats itself. And so I just think it's so great that they took the time to do that when they could have cheapened it with blabber noises.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not just, it adds personality to the characters. Like even that the stag that takes you from different station to station, like even his, like that gruff, that his voice is like, it's really cool. It really adds to the depth of each character. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. And then finally, just a follow up, not a game that I played with Roger, Shadowrun was the game I was thinking of. There was a game. Yeah. So Roger helped me out since I was in Arizona and we couldn't do a full recording of the Controller Throwers show. Roger stepped in and helped me out and co-hosted, and we talked about cross-play compatible games. And I said there was one game on the 360 when it first came out that was cross-play with the PC, but I couldn't remember the name. It was Shadowrun. Came out in 2007.
Yeah, I feel like I have that game. I've never played it, but I have it.
So now we can close the book on that chapter.
There you go.
There we go. Mystery solved.
Nice. All right, so games from myself. I've been playing some more Neo Atlas 1469, exploring more of the world there. So I'm enjoying that game. It reminds me of like Civilization in a way. So I like that a lot. And the other game I just picked up. Oh, guys, I have a problem. I have been buying a lot of games, actually.
You don't say.
I know. I bought Blast Master 2, but I
Ooh.
haven't really played much of that. I bought another game, but I don't even remember what it was. But I was just like, oh, that game. I know, this is so bad. I'm like, that game looks so good. But they did buy yesterday. I bought Friends of Ringo Ishikawa. I think that's pronounced it. Ishikawa?
That did look interesting. It's like a beat 'em up. Yeah, it's like I've seen screenshots of that because it said beat 'em up in the description. I'm like, oh.
Yeah, that's why I was thinking, Mike, that you'd like this game because it reminds me of River City Ransom, not Rampage. Okay. River City Ransom, and you run around and you're a high schooler that is in a gang, and you just go around and beat up other gangs. But then you could like do things like actually go to classes. It's like yeah.
Well,
why would you want to do that?
I don't know, but you can, or you can get a job. You can work at a job. You can do different things. Yeah, you can do these things. Or you can just
let's
beat
take
up
a
gang
fighting
members.
game and make it boring. Look, kids, you can go to work.
My favorite thing that so I haven't played much of the game. I'm not that far because I just picked it up. But one of my favorite things to do is to light a cigarette and just walk. And you can do this, like, I forget what it's called, but it's like this cocky walk where you have your hands in your pocket and you're just doing this cocky walk with your cigarette in your mouth. And then you come up to a gang and then I flick my cigarette out. I'm like, let's go. And then I beat them up. It's awesome.
You like Razor Ramon with the toothpick?
Yeah, kind of. So I mean, I don't know who that is. Who's Razor Ramon?
Yeah, nice try.
But yeah, that game came out on the Switch. I think it's on PC too, but that just came out this week. So I picked that up because it just looks so interesting, and it's touted as a open world fighting game. So I was like, well, it's made by Circle, so, or I should say it's published by Circle. So I had to check that game out. So yeah, those are the games that I've been playing. So that's pretty much all I've been playing, really. I did download WWE 2K19 though because it was $20. So I've not played it yet.
Nice. We should do a segment of just games that we got that we haven't played yet.
Yeah. No, oh my god.
Oh, that would be the longest part of the show.
Yeah. Blue, my copy of Deadly Creatures came in.
Oh, I can't wait. When's the stream?
I'll figure it out. Between that, Spider-Man, and the Perler stream, I'll figure something out.
I feel like this is more important than any of those.
Yeah.
I am hyping this way too much. The chat in that stream is just going to be filled with expletives.
What did you sell us on? This is horrible. So yeah, that's what I've been playing. So let's take a break here, and when we come back, then we're going to get into our hot topic, and we're going to talk about the first quarter of 2019, and we'll talk about our biggest games, biggest surprises, biggest disappointments, and winners and losers of the first quarter of 2019. And welcome back to GamerHeads. So this week we are talking about quarter number 1 of 2019, and who we thought were the biggest games, biggest surprises, biggest losers, biggest wizards of 2019 so far. So I guess let's just start with the the games, the biggest games that we thought came out so far. Like, what were some of the games that you were just like, wow, this is awesome. I'm glad this game came out and it lived up to its hype.
Well, I haven't played it, but I'm going to. But Resident Evil 2, definitely one of the big ones that came out so far this year. I know I've been watching streams of it, and I played the demo, which was incredible. So it definitely felt like a good the next evolutionary step in the Resident Evil 4 formula.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes, Capcom is killing it, Mike. You took the words out of my mouth. Resident Evil 2, Devil May Cry 5, an insane 1-2 punch coming out of 2019 swinging, but they don't really have much other than just like HD remasters for the rest of the year. But Devil May Cry 5 and Resident Evil 2, both fantastic.
And do you think they'll be remembered at the end of the year when it comes to...
I certainly will.
Yeah.
I've made it 4 months this far. I can remember Resident Evil 2, and I will.
Okay.
That's why. This is the reason why I made the list of my 2019 played games, because I'm not going to forget.
Okay. What about you, Blue? What is the biggest game that's lived up to its hype so far, do you think, in 2019?
Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I liked it a lot. And we waited a long time for it, and I wasn't disappointed. And it was awesome. Also, side note, Evil Land 2 was ported to consoles this year. And that game's freaking awesome.
That game is
Not
awesome.
enough people are talking about it.
That game is... Oh, yeah, that was the other game I was playing. Sorry, forgot to mention. I've been playing Evil Land 2. Yeah, I love that game. That game's good. So, yeah. For myself, I think the biggest game that's lived up to its hype for me... Well, that's hard because, I mean, I didn't play any, like, really big hype games. I think one game that would follow my disappointment and I was excited for was Anthem, but we'll get into that. I don't know why I was excited for Anthem, but I was. But I think for myself, I think like Evil Land 2 is a I love that game. That game's really, really good. That game was a sleeper for me, so that was good. That wasn't a big name, but maybe we should be playing that game. And I mean, I guess I was a critic of Resident Evil 2, and I guess I can eat my words because that game does look really good. So, What about the biggest disappointments then of 2019 so far?
Mine here, I'll go to mine. The biggest disappointment also would kind of be along with the biggest surprises. Just how many people are dropping out of E3? Like big changes to E3 this year. Sony's not doing a presentation. Who else? There was somebody else that backed out. I think it was EA. I think EA is doing their own thing.
That's okay.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So and I don't know what this means for the future of E3, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see what that's going to be. But
yeah,
that to me was the biggest. All that and Anthem, from what I've heard.
Yeah. What about you, Blue? What were the biggest disappointments or biggest surprises, or both?
Well, the biggest disappointment turned into the biggest surprise. So when Hollow Knight's physical copy was canceled, and then they turned around and came out with a killer collector's edition. So I wasn't expecting to be, heartbroken and then elated in the span of like 2 months.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's pretty awesome.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
And I think that they're out in May, but I think they have sold so many that when I bought mine, they had this big warning that said, will not ship till July.
Whoa. Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, dang, I needed to be a lot faster.
Wow.
So, but you know what? That's okay. I can wait till July.
It'll be Christmas in July, Blue.
I know. That's so exciting.
Yeah.
But my other biggest surprise would be that we're getting a sequel to Hollow Knight. Heck yes!
Yeah, that's cool. What about you, Christian?
That's hard. I wasn't really significantly disappointed by any 2019 releases I've played thus far, but if I went the Mike route, I would pick Steam as a platform being a pretty big disappointment in 2019. They've been seeing their kind of business practices of accepting anyone that has a video game in backfire on them with some bad video games that don't look good because Steam is making money off of them. Not good. And in addition to that, Epic is kind of stealing their lunch big time when it comes to the exclusives. Steam is seeing like Metro leave, they're no longer with Steam, and Borderlands 3 is going to be on the Epic Store, and tons of indie games are just flooding to the Epic storefront because it's not as cluttered as Steam is, and Epic takes a significantly smaller revenue cut when compared to Steam.
Yeah, I was gonna say that whole Steam came out with their whole I guess how they're breaking down how much money creators are gonna get, and it's really geared towards like bigger names than the indie market. So
do you think Steam just got a little too comfortable at the top of the food chain, and now they don't know? They're slow to react.
Yeah. They never had console wars like Nintendo and PlayStation and Xbox had, right? So like this is almost their version of a console war, that they actually have other services now that are providing services and providing platforms, and I don't know, we'll see that. And I mean, I don't know if Google's really, I guess Google's competing with them, so I guess we'll see what happens. And then who was the other, wasn't there one other group that, Discord, wasn't it Discord that said they're coming out with a platform too? I think so.
Yeah, they've had a store for a little while now.
Okay, so yeah, we'll see. For me, I think the biggest disappointment was Anthem. Like I said, I don't know why I was excited about this game, but I remember talking at the end of last year saying, "Oh, Anthem, excited! That looks really cool." And then I think I like this idea of like flying around in like a Iron Man suit or something like that. And then it was like, this is not good. This is not good. And
well, to be fair, the few screenshots that they did show did look good.
Yeah,
it's a good looking game. But
yeah.
It doesn't change either. It's only that jungle.
Yeah, it didn't execute, and I get it. I mean, I think a lot of people would argue that like when Destiny first came out, that people are like, "Oh, that game, had a rough start too," but now look at it; it has a really good following. But I feel like when Destiny came out, there wasn't a whole lot of games like that at the time, except for like a Halos and stuff like that. But outside of Xbox, there really wasn't games like that, and now we have plenty of similar games. And if you don't hit the ground running, like, you're not gonna get the fans to come over there. So and then the fact that I think the other biggest surprise for me was Apex Legends that came out seemed to come out of nowhere until we start learning about like, well, the fact that Ninjago was paid $1 million to play it for a day, and it's like, oh, okay, like there's some changes to marketing here. So that was a big surprise for me. Yeah, like that didn't just come out of nowhere. What do you think were the biggest winners and losers of 2019 so far?
You could hear Christian with bated breath over there.
Yeah.
I
got a couple in the chamber.
All right.
Capcom kicking butt. Heck yeah. We've got From Software coming out with Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. I wasn't very up on Sekiro because, okay, we got Neo. Neo is great. I've played it for like 5 or 6 hours, not very much. Played a couple missions in Neo. It's Samurai Dark Souls. That's what it is. They, everyone's like, this would be great. What about samurais? People say that with Assassin's Creed. Yeah. People say that with everything. And we got that. We got our wishes fulfilled in the form of Neo. And then From Software announces that their next game is going to be in Sengoku, Japan, which is the same time period and setting as Neo. And I was disappointed. I was like, come on, this already exists. You guys don't need to make this. And then they come out and make a thing that isn't just Dark Souls. And I loved it because of that fact. And I feel like From Software, they can almost do no wrong when it comes to establishing successful new IPs.
That's a big statement.
See, now I want to play it. This is what I'm saying. I want to play it now.
You don't, Roger. Play Bloodborne first.
I do want to play it.
Prove you cannot rage quit Bloodborne first.
All right. I'll play Bloodborne first. All right. But they're totally different games. Like, one's about samurai.
Are they totally different games, Christian?
No.
Okay. Damn it.
They share a lot of DNA.
Okay. All right. I'll play Bloodborne first. All right. What about you, Blue? What are the biggest losers and winners of 2019 so far?
I don't know. It's really hard to argue with the fact that Capcom has had a heck of a first quarter. And it's really hard to, from the outside looking in, say that Anthem didn't really, really screw up.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's been any, like I already said, my biggest surprises of Hollow Knight, and so if you want to know who the winner of the year is, I feel like it's me.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Nice.
Also,
yeah.
Moonlighter DLC.
Oh,
really?
Right.
When's that coming?
It's already out.
Oh,
Really?
It is?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I'll have to check it
I
out.
started a new game, and you get to keep your money and your armor.
What?
Ooh, New Game Plus type
Yes,
deal?
exactly. And so then at the end of each dungeon floor, now you have to beat a little mini boss to get to the next floor.
Oh, that's
And
awesome.
then at the forge, there's all these new weapons and armor that you can get as well.
Wow. That's really awesome.
That's
Man,
weird.
That game's really good.
I just started dipping my toe into Moonlighter. I put like a couple hours into it over the past couple weeks, and I thought all this stuff was just normal. I thought every floor always had a boss, and I thought the armory always had all this stuff.
Well, it had stuff before, and now it has more stuff.
Oh,
Is this a free DLC, Blue?
Yep.
Oh, nice.
that's
maybe,
awesome.
Maybe you got the DLC, Christian.
I guess so. I mean,
Well,
every
he
floor has been
probably got
having a boss.
Got the newest version. But I guess if I had one tiny criticism, and I don't even know that this is necessarily Moonlighter's fault, but I don't know if you remember when I said that I had so much money, like it was ridiculous when I finished my last game. And so now this game, it resets everything to 0, but I had so much money, I could just buy it all again anyway, right away.
Oh.
Nice.
So, like, I just okay, well, there's my store upgraded all right now. And so I think that part of the challenge would have been nice to reset.
Yeah.
Start over from $0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's see. Mike, did we hear your biggest winners and losers yet?
Actually, I'll make this quick. Biggest winner, I'm going to say Nintendo with Tetris 99.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Good choice.
And biggest loser, this one is going to go with, it's going to be half winner and half losers, but I think with the whole Activision Bungie deal, Bungie and gamers came out as winners and Activision came out as losers. I'm just hoping that Destiny 3 is a lot more meaty than Destiny 2 was.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah.
For myself, I think the biggest loser of 2019 so far has been EA. I mean, not only did they really botch up with Anthem, but then they had to let a lot of people go because of, the shifting of their strategy. And, I mean, it just doesn't look very good on you when a game botches like that, and then you have to shift gears as well. Like, just, I don't know. Anytime that a company has to let go of people that are making a crap ton of money, typically it's not like, it's not, doesn't look favorable upon you. I don't look favorably upon companies that make a crap ton of money and then they're like, oh, we have to cut like 75% of our staff. I know that wasn't that much, but I'm just saying. But it's crazy. I think that's crazy. So I think that they're the biggest losers so far. I would agree with Mike. I think the biggest winner so far this quarter so far has been Nintendo. I mean, I think Tetris 99 coming out like out of nowhere, that was awesome, and it really, like, I guess convinced people. I shouldn't say really convinced people, but I mean, it was one of those, it might have been the killer app to get the Nintendo Online. So that's pretty awesome. And I mean, I think that their Nintendo Directs have been pretty solid, and I'm excited even with with Doug Bowser taking over. I'm excited to see the direction of what Nintendo's going to take. So, yeah.
And didn't they also do a thing where you can get a year of Nintendo Online with your Amazon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
If you're a Twitch Prime member.
Yep. So if you are a Twitch Prime member, make sure you take advantage of that, because that's available to you. So. Okay, well, listeners, what are your biggest winners, losers, biggest surprises of 2019 so far, quarter number 1? You can send us an email at info@gamerheadspodcast.com. You can send us a tweet at GamerHeadsPC. You can also go to our website at gamerheadspodcast.com, and then you can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/gamerheadspodcast. All right, let's go around and tell people how they can get a hold of us. We'll start with you, Mike. How can people get a hold of you?
You could find me on Twitter. Check us out at TC Throwers. We do the Controller Throwers podcast right here on GamerHeadsPodcast.com.
Nice. And Christian, how can people get a hold of you?
You can reach out to me on Twitter at Christian Cubza, or else you can read my reviews at GamerHeads Podcast, Push Square, and NewGameNetwork.com.
Nice. And Blue, how can people get a hold of you?
You can almost always find me on Twitter. My handle is at WritersView, and it's spelled with a Y, so WRY. And then I also have a website, which is writersview.com.
Nice. And listeners, as I mentioned, you can always follow us on Twitter. It's probably the best way. It's GamerHeads PC. But we're also on Facebook, and you can follow us on iTunes as well. And you can go to our website as well, and that's at GamerHeadsPodcast.com. All right, Mike, thank you so much for joining us once again this week.
Always a pleasure.
And Christian, thank you for joining us this week.
Anytime.
And Blue, thank you for joining us this week.
Thank you, Roger.
And listeners, again, thank you so much for taking the time out of your business schedule and giving us a listen. There's a link in our show notes to our iTunes page, our iTunes account. Please leave us a review there. We'd love to hear what you have to say about the show. And it gives us feedback on what you like about the show and what we should continue or change or whatever the case is. So we'd love to hear your feedback. All right, with that, we'll talk to you next week. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Is that a spin-off of Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah.
Wizards and Losers. That's a good title. I like it.
Yeah.
That is.
Wizards and Losers?
Mm-hmm.
Should we name the episode that? Wizards and Losers?
No, I was thinking it needs to be an indie game.
Oh, that would be a cool game. Wizards and Losers. And the losers are all the people that never played Dungeons and Dragons. Oh.
And they're lizards. Wizards and lizards.
Yeah, wizards and lizards. Wizards and lizards and losers.
Or you just open up a store that's a combination pet store and RPG.
An RPG
tabletop
game.
game.
Yeah,
Oh boy.
That'd be awesome.
Appealing to a very select market there, Mike.
It's a little
Can I?
niche,
Yeah. Can I get a Dungeons and Dragons expansion and a bearded dragon?
Yeah.